Dobre rano! Good morning. Today we are going to cook Slavic pierogi. I'm Lindy Smith and I'm so excited to share this recipe with you from our family tree and history. What we're going to do first is we are going to prepare one of our fillings. So for the recipe, we're going to peel about 6 potatoes. If they're mid-size, just basically enough for a really nice big pot of mashed potatoes. So we're going to go ahead and just peel a couple. Once you finish peeling, we're going to go ahead and dice these, chop these up. So then you're basically just going to put all of those 6 potatoes in your pan of boiling water, and we're just going to go ahead and put them on the stove. So next, while our water's boiling and our potatoes are going, we're going to start on our dough. So for our dough, we're going to have 6 cups of flour already made, and we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. And I'm used to cooking, so I kind of use my pinchers. So a teaspoon of salt. And then we need to take some margarine, and I actually have to melt this. So I'm gonna take 1 full stick, and we're in good shape. So nice and good and melted. And what I love about this recipe, why this is actually pretty easy, is you don't have to worry about making wells or anything in this dough. You just put all the ingredients together and then you end up stirring it up. We are going to add ½ a cup of milk. We're gonna add 3 eggs and ½ a pint of sour cream. Then we're just gonna give it a real good mix. We're gonna start with the spoon, but like any good cooking made with love, you're gonna actually end up mixing it with your hands. Okay, now time to start with our hands. So we're just kind of work it and work that dough, folding all that good stuff in, making sure we get all of our flour mixed up in there. All right, so now we are all nice and mixed up, all made with love. So we're gonna take this real quick and we're just gonna keep it in a little plastic so it stays a little bit moist. So now that we've got our dough and we're working on our potatoes, and we're gonna start kneading that. And you wanna start with a very nice floured surface because we're gonna roll that out like you would noodles or pie crust or other things like that. And I take enough dough for probably just about a dozen or so pierogi to start out. And we're gonna roll this out to about 1/4 of an inch thick. Just gonna try to roll that out nice and thin. Okay, now that our dough is nice and rolled out and flat, we're gonna go ahead and take our cookie cutter, if you will, and we're gonna go ahead and just get some of those out here. And when you run out, you can just grab all that excess dough and put it right back in with your other dough because it can be reused. So I think our potatoes are ready. So we're gonna go ahead and get those off the stove. And we're gonna go ahead and drain these into a colander. Okay. And once they're good and drained, they should stay nice and hot. Just go ahead and put those right back in your pan. And we're gonna add a few things to these to make these really nice and cheesy mashed potatoes. So we're gonna come and we're gonna grab 3 slices of American cheese, ½ a pack of sharp cheddar cheese, and ½ a stick of butter. And now we're gonna go ahead and just mix up those potatoes. You don't have to salt these. The reason being is pierogi, when they're all finished, you like to have a little salt on the finished product. All right, so now that our potatoes are ready, we're gonna come on over and we're gonna scoop a little bit of our potato, and it should be nice and warm. We're gonna just put it about right in the center, and we're gonna close these up now with a fork and get that good and closed because you don't want that filling to come out when you're ready to cook them. It's time to cook our pierogi. So we're gonna go ahead and get another pot of water started, and we're gonna get this boiling on the stove. So we're back in the kitchen and our water's boiling. So now it's time to cook our pierogi. So we're gonna go ahead and just drop them in that boiling water. You don't have to worry about however many fit in the pot. And again, these will take about 5 minutes. Sometimes you can also tell that they're done when they begin floating to the top of the pot. So while the pierogi are cooking, let me share one more idea with you. So this cookbook I created in about 1982. And it was when I was working on my computer science degree, and I wanted to learn how to use Microsoft Access for a database. And this was the perfect idea. So I went to all of the relatives and asked them to send me all of those favorite old recipes. And I put them collectively in a cookbook, gave them out as Christmas gifts. And boy, am I thankful, because none of those relatives are here anymore. So this actually preserved that. And the pierogi recipe is in here. And it was kind of a fun little thing to do because my ancestors are all foreign, and a lot of them didn't even really know English yet. So I had to actually learn how to put these recipes together by watching them cook. So I learned how to make all of these recipes at the same time. Now our pierogi are ready, and we're ready to take them out. I just take them out with a little slotted spoon. And just put them into another pan. So now that these have finished cooking, our next step is to lightly saute them in butter and some onion. And now we're gonna put our butter and get that started heating up. And we're gonna chop up an onion while we're waiting for that. And go ahead and just give those a little bit of slicing. So once those are all chopped up, we're gonna go ahead and add those to the butter. And we're gonna cook these onions until they're a little bit tender. And I put a full stick of butter, and you do wanna use butter, and I use salted butter because remember, we didn't salt the potatoes. So it's nice to have a little salted butter in there. Okay, our butter is nice and strong there, and we're just gonna go ahead and throw those pierogi right in there. And we're just gonna give them a little bit of saute till they brown a little bit. And I tend to drain just that butter off because they're already nice and smooth. And here we have our finished pierogi.